honest. How many times have you opened your fridge, checked the date on something, and immediately tossed it in the trash? Milk, eggs, leftovers, even pasta sauce. If it's past the date, we assume it's dangerous. It's something we've all done, often without a second thought. But here's the big question. Do expiration dates actually mean the food is unsafe? The truth behind those little printed numbers is far more confusing and surprising than you might think. So today we're digging into the reality of food expiration dates, what they mean, where they come from, and whether we've been wasting food for no reason. Let's break this down. Expiration dates, a modern invention. Believe it or not, expiration dates are a relatively new concept. They didn't become mainstream until the 1970s in the US and other developed countries. Before that, people relied on their senses, sight, smell, and taste, to know if food had gone bad. That's right, your nose was your expiration date. So where did these printed dates come from? As packaged and processed food became more common, manufacturers started using coded dates to track how long products stayed fresh. These dates weren't meant for the public at first. They were internal tools. Eventually, though, consumers wanted access to that information. So, under pressure, manufacturers began printing sell-by, a best by, and use-by dates on product labels. But here's the kicker. These dates are not regulated for safety. They're about quality, not health. And that's a major misconception. Decoding the labels, best by versus use by versus sell by. Let's break down the most common labels you'll see in your kitchen. Sell by. This one is for stores, not consumers. It tells retailers how long to display the product for inventory purposes. It has absolutely nothing to do with food safety. Best by or best if used by. These refer to quality like texture or flavor. The food is still safe after this date, but it might not taste as good as it once did. Used by. Sounds serious, right? But it's still mostly about quality. The only exception? Infant formula. That's the only product in the US where a use-by date is legally regulated for safety. So, unless you're feeding a baby, those expiration dates are basically suggestions, not hard rules. That's a critical distinction. The waste problem. Millions of tons thrown away. Here's where it gets serious. Because we trust those dates too much, we waste a shocking amount of food. In the US alone, it's estimated that up to 40% of food is wasted each year, and a huge chunk of that comes from confusion over date labels. Perfectly good food gets thrown out simply because the printed date has passed. And we're not just talking about crumbs or scraps, that's millions of tons of food, gone. Food waste isn't just expensive, it's also a major contributor to climate change. Rotting food in landfills releases methane, a powerful greenhouse gas that's much more potent than carbon dioxide. So those dates, they're not just misunderstood. They're part of a much bigger problem that affects both our wallets and the planet. Trust your senses, not the stamp. So how do you know if food is actually still good? It comes down to your own senses, just like people did for generations before printed dates existed. Sight. Does it look normal? No mold? No strange color? Smell. Does it smell sour, rancid, or off? Texture. Is it slimy or unusually sticky? Taste. If it looks and smells okay, a small taste is usually safe. Of course, this doesn't apply to everything. With raw meat, seafood, or dairy, you should still be cautious. But a lot of packaged foods, like pasta, canned goods, cereal, are fine long after their best by date. And here's a fun fact. Honey never expires. Archaeologists have found pots of it in ancient Egyptian tombs. And it's still edible. That's how powerful natural preservation can be. Why there's no standard system. Part of the problem is that there's no global or national standard for expiration labeling. In the US, the FDA and USDA don't require expiration dates on most foods. It's completely up to the manufacturers, and they all use different systems. One brand's Best by might mean 3 months, and others might mean 6. There's no consistency, no regulation, and no way for consumers to know what the dates really mean. Some countries, like the UK, are starting to address this. British supermarkets have removed best before dates on many products, encouraging people to use judgment instead. Other nations are experimenting with smart labels or digital indicators that actually show when food has spoiled based on real data, not just a printed estimate. It's clear the current system is broken, but there's momentum for change. The real cost of confusion. Expiration dates might look harmless, but the misunderstanding around them has real consequences. Households lose hundreds of dollars every year by tossing food that's still safe to eat. Schools, restaurants, and grocery stores throw away tons of edible goods out of caution or liability fears. In a world where millions of people still face food insecurity, this waste feels even more staggering. Rethinking our relationship with date labels isn't just smart, it's necessary. Every item we save makes a difference. Be a smarter shopper. Education starts in the grocery store. Buy only what you'll realistically eat. Understand how different foods age. Some spoil quickly, others last for months. Rotate items in your fridge and pantry. Use the oldest first. Don't avoid ugly produce or slightly dented cans. They're usually just as good. Being mindful with what we buy and how we store it is one of the easiest ways to cut back on food waste. Shift the mindset from expiration to exploration. Think of expiration not as a deadline, but as a guideline. Start treating food as something living, not just labeled. Ask yourself, is this food still good? Instead of, what does the date say? This small shift in mindset puts you back in control and helps build a culture of sustainability and awareness. So the next time you're about to toss something just because the label says it expired yesterday, pause, look at it, smell it, feel it, maybe even taste it. Because the date on the package isn't the final word, you are. We've come to trust those little stamps too blindly. But food is complex, just like the systems that produce and package it. And you're smart enough to know better. By taking a moment to trust your senses, you can. Save money on groceries, cut down on unnecessary waste, support a more sustainable food system, fight climate change in your own kitchen, and maybe, just maybe, start a new habit that others follow. Because every bite not wasted is a win for you, your community, and the planet. So next time you reach for that yogurt or sauce or bag of greens, don't fear the date. Know the difference. Make the call. Own your fridge. If this gave you a fresh perspective, like subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And tell us in the comments, what's the oldest thing you've eaten that turned out perfectly fine? Or what food do you wish lasted longer? Thanks for listening. Stay curious, stay resourceful, and always think before you toss.